All right, Shalom Israel. Welcome to Wednesday night class. Shout out and shalom to everybody online, and shalom to everybody that watches here in the class that came out in person. Good to see everybody. Hope your families are doing well. Shout out and shalom to Stream of Wisdom in Houston and Rochester, New York, and also Norfolk, Virginia. Kazaki out there in Norfolk. Shout out and shalom, and shout out and shalom to the water to Cabo Cobb down in Guatemala for we got a chance to catch his class on Friday, and then. That was a dynamic class, and then coming off of Monday's class was also dynamic. So good to see everybody online. Hopefully everybody's taking notes or paying attention. But I was supposed to finish a topic that was started 2 weeks ago, but I think it's just eventually get back to it. But I think there's certain things that we see going on that are more important right now. For those that are paying attention, the title of the class is called "Pay Attention, Blessed Are the Eyes That See." And of course, we get the title from a scripture. We'll get that in a second. But the inspiration and the motivation behind this particular topic is all the storms and bad weather that we're watching, both that's hitting from East Coast to the West Coast, North and the South. We just came off some fires here in San Antonio a couple days ago, where multiple houses caught on fire from that little gust of wind that we had. We've seen 18-wheelers flipping over in North Texas, and then we know last month we saw the fires out in California that devastated homes and communities, entire communities wiped out. And just as of recently, as of Friday, as a matter of fact, up until yesterday, we had over 90 tornadoes in the last 4 days run through the United States. And the body count is still rising. There's about 43 people that have passed so far and counting. But it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's a calamity to witness these things. Matter of fact, Daria, if you could read that, I sent that to your phone. If you could read that for me real quick. Well, Daria, I guess that. Somebody give me Luke chapter 10, verse 23.
Luke 10 and 23. And he turned him unto his disciples and said privately, Blessed are the eyes which see.
He said, blessed are the eyes which what?
Which see.
Go ahead.
The things that ye see.
And he says, blessed are the eyes that see the things you see. Now, just because we see storms, we see hurricanes, we see tornadoes, we see flooding, we see fires, that doesn't mean we necessarily understand what we're looking at. And that's what we're going to talk about today is how should we be processing what we're looking at. If you can read that for me, Dalia.
Title: Deadly Severe Weather Outbreak spawns nearly 90 tornadoes in 13 states as communities begin to rebuild.
It says so communities on the rebuild, but think about 90 tornadoes running through 13 states. Like that's like almost unheard of for a weekend. For a weekend, that's a lot. That's a lot of tornadoes for a 3-day span, and that's a far-stretching path.
I've never heard of that before.
That's. I know tornadoes are common around this time of year, but 90 in a weekend,
I've never heard that.
And to sweep through 13 states and take up to 43 lives so far.
90 drive-bys in the weekends.
That's Chicago.
Extreme, except for Chicago.
Yeah,
that's normal. That's average weekend over there.
That's Memorial Day in Chicago. But read on.
At least 43 people have been confirmed dead in 8 states, from Texas to North Carolina, since the disaster has begun to unfold on Friday. In total, NOAA's Storm Prediction Center said it has received more than 1,000 storm reports associated with the event.
So it says up to 1,000 storm reports associated. So people are calling in like crazy to the radio station and trying to report these storms coming through that are sweeping through Texas to North Carolina. That's a lot. It's a lot of damage. And so the topic, like I said, of this class is inspired by this weekend's events. But like Christ said, blessed are the eyes that see the things which you see. You got to know how to process these things. You got to know what you're looking at. And also the second part of the class is inspired by a Peruvian sailor that was just found, who was caught off guard in a storm. He had no radio communication, and he was in a fishing boat off the coast of Peru.
Wow.
And he had been lost since December 7th of last year.
Come on.
So
That's tough.
Since December 7th of last year, the guy was
At sea.
And that was also started by storms. Also, a storm came through and pushed him off the coast, and he got disoriented. And he survived eating cockroaches, birds, and sea turtles. And that's how he survived. So he was out there for 90-something days.
I hear about people eating cockroaches when they're prisoners of war in foreign countries. In Vietnam, and they have to make friends with roaches, and they have to eat certain roaches to survive.
Yeah,
that's intense. That's intense survival.
Or eating rats, to survive. Which we'll get to that too. Probably not this week, but next week, because that's how the Pilgrims came to America, and we'll get into that too. But yeah, and but it's just a tragedy for this gentleman who spent his birthday lost in the sea, and he said for his birthday he had one cookie for his birthday. They said that's to celebrate on the boat. But he said he refused to die. He said
this guy.
He said he thought about his mother, he thought about his family, and he said he refused to give up. So this weekend is filled with stories of both tragedy and survival, and hope. So, and hopefully, if we can, which I doubt, but hopefully we'll get to both aspects of those scenarios today. But starting, like I said, both of these situations started with a storm. Whether it be the tornadoes or the gentleman down in Peru that was lost at sea. So, let's go to Nahum chapter 1 and verse 2 to start off how something like this could be perceived. How could you perceive these situations? Speaking primarily of the first scenario with these almost 100 storms, tornadoes coming through 13 states. How can we look at this? Let's go to Nahum chapter 1 and let's read verse 2.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 2.
Hold on, let me get it.
It's an amazing events. Huh?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 2. The Most High is jealous.
So we can look at this situation and look at these 100 tornadoes, these 90 tornadoes sweeping through 13 states, and we could conclude that the Most High is what?
Jealous.
The Most High is jealous. Read on.
It says, and the Lord, or the Most High, revengeth.
Oh, and we could say that, hey, man, these massive fires, these massive landslides, these floods in the Midwest, these dust storms, even the fires that we had down here, we could say, man, that's the Most High taking vengeance, which we know. We've had multiple classes regarding tremendous situations concerning weather, and we know that the Most High can isolate His anger and take His anger out on people by way of bringing these horrendous torrential rains and downpours and tornadoes and cyclones and hurricanes and tsunamis. We know this already. Read on.
It says, the Lord revengeth. The Lord is furious.
It said the Lord's when the Most High is angry. He said the Lord is revengeous. He said the Lord revengeth and is furious. Now, what happens when we know that the Most High gets furious? We know this before. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 39, verse 28. What happens when the Most High gets furious? I recommend that if you don't have a Bible, get a Bible, and if you can, make sure you have paper and pen and write these things down. So if you have questions, you can always go back to it. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're taking notes. So if we have questions about it, we can go back to it, because I really doubt there's going to be time to finish this first aspect. We'll be revisiting some of these things next week. Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 39, verse 28.
Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha chapter 39, verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance.
It said there are spirits, so when the Most High gets angry, we just read, Yahweh read that, he said the Most High revengeth. The Most High, first of all, he said the Most High is jealous. So he said the Most High is jealous, and when the Most High gets jealous, he pays vengeance, right? It says, And the Most High is furious. So what happens when the Most High is furious? Let's get that. Ecclesiastes 39:28 one more time.
God, Ecclesiasticus 39:28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance.
So when the Most High is jealous, the Most High gets furious, then the Most High is he got spirits set aside to deliberate his fury and to pacify his wrath. He got spirits set aside for that. And what are these spirits? Read on.
Which in their fury lay on sore
It
strokes.
says the spirits have fury because they're operating from the Most High's fury. They're operating based upon the Most High's command because he's furious. So they're furious.
And these spirits have emotions.
They have
In their
emotions.
fury.
Yeah, but whose temperament are they following?
Most
The
High.
Most High's. So that they have a level of passion as they execute this judgment. Read on.
In the time of destruction,
It says, but when the Most High is jealous, the Most High is angry, and the Most High is furious, he says he has spirits that are set aside for this purpose. And he said, at the time of this judgment, what happens?
they pour out their force.
It says they have force or power in them. So when we're talking about 90 tornadoes in a 3-4 day span, and we're talking about up to 43 people unalive, that's a lot of power that the Most High has dropped down upon America. That's just in America. That's not worldwide, globally. That's not even globally. That's just here.
Yeah.
Read.
God. And appease the wrath of him that made them.
It says, and appease the wrath of him that what?
That made them.
Yeah, they have the storms or these spirits, they have a motivation. They have a purpose. They have an intention. They're intentional. They're not by accident. They're not Mother Nature.
Right.
They're not El Nino. They're not weird weather patterns, freak accidents.
Right.
They
This
said
is
no.
electrical charges
Yeah,
that
this
just happen to randomly happen.
this is just not. It could have been the eclipse that we had the other day.
Right.
You know, but whatever the case may be, the Most High said these things are intentional. They have a purpose, and their purpose is to do what? It says in their fury they do what?
Lay on sore strokes.
It says they deliver punishing blows. They deliver very punishing blows. Read on.
Middle of 28. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force
Go ahead.
and appease the wrath of him that made them.
And they don't stop. They don't stop doing damage and devastation until the Most High is satisfied. Until the Most High is pacified. Read on.
God, 29. Fire,
It says one of these spirits is what?
fire.
Last month we saw California burning. But that was a what?
Yeah.
That was a spirit.
Spirit created by the Most
That was created by the Most High.
High.
California, LA was on fire. Southern California on fire. A lot of places on fire. Massive amounts of acreage. Thousands of acres on fire. He said these are the spirits the Most High has on reserve. Read on.
And hail.
Hailstones.
So that's a spirit also that has a purpose also.
Yeah, the hailstones are of biblical proportion. And we haven't even seen what the Most High can do. Just on a roundabout estimate of what the Most High can do, give me this verse right here. In Revelations. Chapter 16, verse 21.
Revelation. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 21. And there fell upon men
It says, and the Most High will have things fall upon men. What is it? Read on.
a great hail.
So when we talk about hell that we're reading in Ecclesiastes chapter 39, that's a spirit the Most High has on reserve. And he says they lay out their fury. Now the Most High said he has, in the last days in the Revelation, according to Revelations, he's going to have some hailstones around a certain particular diameter and weight. Read on.
Right. And there fell upon men a great hail.
It says a great hail, read,
Out of heaven.
and it's going to drop out of heaven. Read on.
Every stone.
It says every single stone. Think about it when the raindrops turn to hailstones. There's millions of hailstones. He said
a lot of
every
raindrops.
single hailstone,
Yeah.
every last one of them. Read on.
It's crazy.
Every stone about the weight of a talent.
He said will have an approximate weight about a talent. Now, when you read about a biblical talent in weight, a biblical talent in weight is about 75 pounds.
Yeah.
It's about 68 to 75 pounds.
A 75-pound frozen drop of rain.
Multiple. when you understand hell and how hell is created,
Yeah.
you have the cumulonimbus clouds that are miles high, and when the rain drops, it freezes and it gets caught up in a vortex, and it gets pulled back up. And as the raindrop freezes and it gets pulled back up, it more water collects on the rain, and then it goes in another circle. It drops back down, it gets pulled back in, and every time it's circling within the cloud, it's adding weight and density to the stone. So the Most High said He's going to put on reserve a certain level of hell where that one drop of water is not going to fall until it reaches the weight of about 75 pounds.
It's a strong pull. That wind pulling a 5-pound frozen form of rain has to be a stronger form than 5 pounds to pull it up.
To be able to pull up 75-pound drops.
To pull up 70-pound drops. That's a strong wind to pull 70 pounds of weight back up into a cloud.
I don't know if anybody lifted the 70-pound dumbbells at the gym.
That's real.
But when you get one in each hand, you're doing some serious work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in my heyday, I can get one on each. Nowadays, no, sir. Give me the 50s or something. But 75 pounds is a lot of weight per hailstone. So can we imagine what the Most High is saying about spirits that He has that are dedicated for vengeance? He says fire is one of them, hail is one of them, and we know, according to Revelations, how big they can get. Read on.
Every stone about the weight of a talent.
And what's going to happen when these hailstones fall on men? Read.
And men blaspheme the Most High.
Men are going to start cursing the Most High when they see these hailstones.
Lieutenant Dan, huh?
They're going to start cursing the Most High because cars are smashed.
Houses are smashed too, huh?
Cars are smashed, homes are smashed, pets, animals, trees broken, power lines,
Cutting through roofs. Can't be in the
water
house.
towers, water tanks, every piece of infrastructure you can imagine is busted up when you got 75-pound hailstones falling on men. He says men are going to do what?
It says, and men blaspheme the Most High because of the plague of the hail.
It says because that hail at that size and diameter is a what?
That's a plague.
It's a plague, man. Now, some of us that are from here locally may remember in Hondo, Texas, about 15 years ago, they had some hailstones that dropped, and they were grapefruit size.
Yeah.
And the grapefruit size hail smashed all the new car lots out in Hondo,
Yeah, I remember that.
Texas, and they were selling new cars for $3,000 because you had a beat up car, but you had a new engine. You had a new transmission, and you had new seats. But if you didn't mind the indentions on your vehicle, the sea turtle looking indentions.
Yeah.
If you didn't mind it, you got a brand new car for $3,000.
Imagine pulling up on a date in a beat up car like that and say, "Listen, baby, this wasn't my fault."
But it's new paper tags though.
it's brand new.
But it's brand new.
It's a work in progress.
But we also know a couple of years ago on the northeast side, hailstones went through the walls of people's houses. It was so big they penetrated the wall, the sheetrock, the outer skirting, and the sheetrock.
So, let me ask you a question: were these stones smaller than a softball?
They were onion size. When you go to the store, you see white onions. You see white onions, they're the size of white onions.
Yeah.
And those penetrated roofs, walls, siding, and sheetrock. They came in people's houses, in their living room. So can you imagine what the Most High can do with hell? So as we read this, we're understanding the Most High has these spirits on reserve. Let's go back to that in, not Nahum, not yet. Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes chapter 39, verse 29. Fire and hail and famine.
And famine. Where there's no crops, there's no food. Read on.
That's the problem with hell. Well, the normal size hell.
Oh, yeah.
It takes the corn off the stalks.
It rips leaves off trees.
Yeah. Any kind of crop we're growing, even the small hell destroys those crops.
Yep. Pea-sized hell destroys that.
Yeah.
Read.
And famine and death. All these were created for vengeance.
Go ahead.
Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction.
Go ahead.
They shall rejoice in his commandment.
It said they shall what?
They shall rejoice in his commandment.
Who's given the command for them to punish and pass judgment? The Most High is. Read on.
And they shall be ready upon earth.
It says, and on earth, even the animals are ready to attack on the Most High's command.
They had a whole series about that. They had a whole, years ago, like a 45-minute to 1 hour, 20-minute show about when animals attack.
Yeah, it was a great show. Because even deers rose up and beat people up and stomped. Kangaroos was fighting people.
God.
He said, or dogs, your pet animal turned on you and would tear you up.
Out of nowhere.
Raccoons chasing people down the street. So bears coming through windows. So yeah, the Most High said these spirits are always ready when their need is. They're always ready to turn and pacify the Most High's wrath on men. Read on.
And they shall be ready upon earth when need is.
Go ahead.
And when their time is come.
Go ahead.
They shall not transgress
And
his word.
it says they will not disobey the Most High's word. They will not. Read on.
32. Therefore, from the beginning, I was resolved. And
That's it. So let that go. And let's go back to Nahum where we were in Nahum chapter 1. And let's read verse 2 again.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 2. The Most High is jealous, and the Most High revengeth. The Most High revengeth, and is furious. The Most High will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies.
So we know this. We just read this of what happens when the Most High gets angry. And the Most High gets angry. I'm sorry. Hold on. This thing just disappeared.
No, it's the cord.
It's the cord?
Yeah.
Oh, this is horrible.
Point this out.
Hold on 1 second. We just had a little blackout. This cord is tripping.
Has it been a couple days ago?
No.
All right. It's just been shaky. All right. So read that again.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 2. The Most High is jealous, and the Most High revengeth.
Go ahead.
The Most High revengeth, and is furious.
Go ahead.
The Most High will take vengeance on his adversary,
And we know how. Read on.
and he reserveth wrath for his enemies.
Go ahead.
The Most High is slow to anger.
But to get the Most High to where He's ready to unleash this punishing storms and famine and hail and fires, He says the Most High is very slow to anger. Read on.
And great in power,
Go ahead.
and will not at all acquit the wicked.
It says, and will not at all acquit the wicked. Read.
The Most High hath his way in the whirlwind.
So you really gotta agitate the Most High because He's so patient and He's so merciful. You really have to get under His skin to where He's ready to drop these size hailstones on you, or let these kind of fires blaze and roar through your communities, or let these tornadoes just uproot everything standing and throw everything out of order. You really got to get the Most High angry to do that, because he's very patient. He said he's slow to anger. But when he does get to that point, he says he will have his way.
He gonna have his way out.
He said he will have his way with you. Let's go to Job chapter 37, verse 11. Read that part again, Yahweh, where he says,
It says, the Lord will have his way in the whirlwind.
the Most High will use the whirlwind. The whirlwind is what?
Tornado.
Tornadoes,
That's his way.
hurricanes. The Most High will have his way in the whirlwind. He'll spark one up, spark one up for you.
Yeah,
He'll generate one.
yeah.
Let's get that. He said he'll have his way in the whirlwind. Read on.
And in the storm.
And in the storms to go with it. The hurricanes or the winds produce the storms that spin off the tornadoes. He said, but this is the Most High's doing. Let's get that Job 37 and 11.
Job 37 and 11.
Read.
Also by watering he wearieth the thick cloud.
It says the Most High uses the thick clouds to water, and he makes them heavy. Read on.
He scattereth his bright cloud.
And he scatters the bright clouds. Read. The electrified clouds. Read on.
Oh, those are the bright clouds.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
And is turned round about by his counsel.
It says, and those bright clouds are turned about by his what?
Councils.
By his counsel.
By his counsels. Who's controlling the remote control for the storms?
Most High.
The Most High has all the storms that we've seen this weekend. 90 tornadoes. The Most High got each and every one of those under control.
So he's counseling the storms. This is it, by his counsels.
You go here.
Make
I need you over here. I need you in this state. I need you in that city.
Yeah.
I need you to hit that town.
Don't forget the house.
Yeah.
Save that house.
Yeah. The Most High, he's delegating the strike points of the tornadoes. He's delegating where the strategic points of attack are.
Just like Esau goes to the military and he has his drones and he has his automated warfare. He picks and chooses certain locations that he hits and he attacks.
Yeah, he has the heat sinking missiles.
Yeah.
But but the Most High got something too. The Most High got he's navigating the tornadoes and the storms to hit every single location that he chooses. Read that again.
Con. Job 37 and 12. It is turned round about by his counsels, that they may do whatsoever he commandeth them.
See, the storms are on command. The tornadoes are on command. They're not random acts of weather patterns. They're made purposely to pacify the Most High. Read.
Come. Upon the face of the world and the earth. He causes it to come, whether for correction.
He says it could be that the Most High bring this storm for what?
For correction.
Or the fires could be brought for what? Correction. That's the Most High. Listen, I'm bringing this storm because I don't like your behavior. I'm bringing this what you call weird weather, unforeseen. Listening to different podcasts and radio stations. Every one of the disc jockeys, radio jockeys or vloggers, they always talk about how weird it is.
Yeah.
Man, this is weird. This is weird. You checking the weather, it's weird. There's nothing weird about this. There's nothing weird about what the Most High is doing. But when you listen to the radio, all you keep hearing is how weird the weather is. Man, it's weird. Man, we just had storms last month. We had fires. Now we got 100 tornadoes in a weekend. This is weird. It's nothing weird. Man may think it's weird. He said, I can bring this for what purpose?
He caused it to come, whether for correction.
He said the Most High could bring that storm for correction, or what else?
Or for his land.
Or he needs the storm to bring rain on the land, to be a benefit to the land. Even fires are a benefit to the land. The vegetation grows back even bigger and better.
He's conscious that the land needs certain rest and certain nutrients
Yeah.
to keep growing for the animals that live in the area.
The Most High is controlling everything for a reason. It could be for punishment. Read on.
Or for mercy.
Or he could bring a storm to show his power and for people to escape so that they understand that the Most High was having what?
Mercy.
The Most High, if you delivered from that storm, then you could recognize, hey man, that could have been me. My house didn't burn down.
That's the definition of correction. Correction, number point 6, says critical notice.
Yep.
To make you notice something.
Yeah. To make you notice. But you notice, if I survive that situation, there's a kid book, like from elementary to like 5th grade or 8th grade reading. It's called the I Survived series. And these are people that were caught in different tsunamis or hurricanes or fires or weird weather anomalies, or even Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the bombs. And they talk about how they lived through the tragedy. And it's a little kid series called I Survived. But you know why you survived? So that you can come back and say, man, the Most High was having what on me?
Mercy.
The Most High was having mercy on me. That was the Most High's mercy. He says different reasons why these things happen. There's different reasons. But we have to be smart enough and wise enough to be able to interpret what it is that we're looking at. All right? Let's go back to finish that in Nahum.
God. I got it.
Or some people may say, this is always one that people use. It's all the cloud seeding. It's man playing with the weather.
Mm-hmm.
It's the aluminum chemtrails he's putting in the air, causing the weird weather. Or it's he's playing with that CERN underground super collider underground, causing weird magnetic pulls and weird weather. Or it's the heart weapon that Esau possesses that's controlling the weather and navigating the weather. Is it really? Let's go to Job 38 real quick before we go back to Nahum. Job 38 and 36.
Job 38 and 36. 36, sir?
Yeah.
Job 38 and 36. Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts?
Who's got this kind of power? Read on.
Or who hath given understanding to the heart?
It says, or who's given understanding to a man's mind? Read on.
Who can number the clouds in wisdom?
It says, to where he has the ability to number the clouds. What else?
Or who can stay the bottles of heaven?
Or who can hold back the rain of heaven? What man has that power? We can blame it on man and say, well, it's mankind. He's playing with the weather. He's cloud seeding. He's breaking up hailstones with pulse weapons. He's using shock weapons to break up hail clouds, hailstones. So we can say it's man, but man is even limited in his ability to control what the Most High controls. Read on.
Or who, verse 38, when the clouds grow in hardness and the clods cleave fast together, who thou hunt the prey for the lion? It
says, so when the things dry up, who's gonna feed the lions? Only the Most High has this kind of control. What he's saying is, man is limited in his ability. Whether you even depend on the meteorologist to determine what's going on in the weather, he can only predict so much, and he can only predict so far, and he has limited vision and limited sight and limited scope of influence on the weather itself. He can kind of tell you there's going to be a 30% chance of rain. You know why he can't say exactly what it is? Because he doesn't have that kind of control. That's why he gives you a roundabout percentage. Right. That's why he tells you it's going to be about 85 degrees. Yep. Highs around 85. Highs around 85.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know exact temperatures. Because he doesn't know. He's limited in his scope of influence and control to be able to give power to the elements. That's only given to the Most High, by the Most High, and to men if the Most High choose so. He says, who put wisdom in the inward parts? Who is the Most High make wise enough to be able to have that control? Go to 1 Kings chapter 13. I'm sorry, 17, and give me verse 1.
That's me, bro.
Come, 1 Kings chapter 17 and verse 1 reads. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
It says, and Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead.
He said, Elijah the Tishbite, who was the inhabitants of Gilead, read,
said unto Ahab, as the Lord power of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years.
He said the Most High had to put the spirit in Elijah to tell Ahab. He said that there's not going to be what?
Not be dew nor rain these years.
Read.
But according to my word.
He said, and it's going to be on what?
According to my word.
He said the rain is only going to come down based upon what?
My word.
It says I'm the one that's going to dictate when it's going to rain.
I give the word.
It has to be on my command.
On my command. I mean, that means they're waiting like they're on standby.
Well, you know what he's showing is, and according to Job 38 that you read, Amiyati, read verse 36 again.
Job 38 and 36.
Mm-hmm.
Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who hath given understanding to the heart?
It says, only the Most High, if the Most High choose so, he has to grant you this ability to control the weather. That has to be given to you. If that's not given to you by the Most High, then you don't control nothing.
You don't control anything.
You don't control the weather in China. You don't control the monsoons in India. You don't control the freeze in Siberia. You don't control nothing. But it has to be where the Most High gives you this power. Only if he grants you this wisdom can this be done. Otherwise, you're at the mercy. We're all at the mercy of the Most High. And whatever weather he's subject to deliver to us that day.
San Antonio, classically, you look at one day, it'll be an intense storm for like maybe an hour, but it's the timing of the storm. And it's the weather. It'd be a slick road where we have the black rain. And you go to work, and it'd be like, you look on your phone, and it'll say 50 accidents by 8:30. How are there 50 accidents by 8:30? Then say 50 accidents, this many ambulances are going out, and then by 12 o'clock, the sun comes out because we live in a desert, and all that water evaporates as if nothing ever happened. But 50 people lost their vehicles.
Or, like in Fort Worth a couple years ago, it was some black ice on a highway in Fort Worth, and they had over 100 car pileup, and they slammed. People recorded it. They just slammed 18-wheelers slamming into cars slamming into cars that was already slammed into, and just one after another, over 100 cars just kept smashing each other, one after another.
That was during that storm, that winter break, I believe, right?
That freeze that we had a while back. But or you got the dust storm that happened in the Midwest, where it was dry. This farmer cut some grass on his farm, and also the weather was dry, so the wind blew and kicked up the dust and the dry grass, and it covered the highway completely. And then you had 37 people, 18-wheelers included, all caught fire, burned up, crashed on top one after another into each other from a dust storm with grass and dirt.
That's crazy.
But the Most High is doing this. What he's showing is we don't have control. Only the Most High has to deliver that power to you like he did to Elijah, where upon Elijah's command, the rain came down. Or it didn't come down at all. The Most High has to give you that power. We don't have that power. Matthew chapter 8, verse 27.
Okay.
Matthew chapter 8, verse 27.
Yep.
Matthew chapter 8, verse 27. He said, but the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this?
And there's another man that we know in the Bible that men were shocked at. And they said what?
What manner of man is this?
They're talking about Christ. Read on.
That even the winds.
It says that Christ, when men saw that, when Christ walked the earth, even the what?
Even the winds.
And what else?
And the sea obey him.
It says, so we know Elijah had that power, and we also know who had that power.
Christ.
Christ had that power. Christ had that power to where the winds and the ocean was subject to him. The elements were subject to him. The Most High has to grant you that wisdom. Otherwise, you don't have it. So a lot of self-proclaimed meteorologists out there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of self-proclaimed wise people that think they can see the weather and I know what's going to happen today.
I smell rain.
Yeah. You know how many people ride motorcycles and are sitting under bridges because they didn't check the weather? Or they thought it was going to be a clear day and the rain came out of nowhere?
That's a real one.
And they stuck under a bridge somewhere trying to go to work? Yes, sir.
Would Joshua be included too?
Joshua stopped the sun. Yeah, he stopped the sun to finish the battle with the Philistines. The Most High blessed him with that ability, but the Most High gave him that ability.
Right.
That wasn't just naturally given to him. The Most High has to give you that ability to control that weather. We're subject to the weather. We don't control it. We're not in control of it. We're subject to it because that's the Most High's command. So we know Christ had that ability. Go back to Nahum. Whoever had Nahum, we're going to go Nahum chapter 1, verse 9.
Nahum chapter 1 and 9.
Yep.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 9. What do ye imagine against the Most High?
It says, but the one thing that you, because we don't have any control. We don't have any power. We're powerless on this earth. We're limited in our scope of influence. He says, but one thing that you want to make sure that you do is that you stay on the Most High's good side. He says, make sure that you're not one of these individuals that possess an imagination that what?
Against the Most High.
What you don't want to be found is an enemy of the Most High. Knowing that you don't have this control, knowing we don't have this control, we don't have this power, the last thing we want to do is be the Most High's enemy. The last thing we want to do is be on the Most High's bad side. Knowing we have no control. Knowing we have no power. You know what is going to befall us that day based on the weather conditions or whatever spirit the Most High got activated at that time. Whether it be a close call on the road, whether it be a near miss, whatever it is, we got to make sure we're not on the Most High's negative side. He says, read that again.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 9. What do ye imagine against the Most High? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up the second time.
What he's saying is the Most High is not going to keep talking to you. The Most High is not going to keep telling you to do something or to be conscious or pay attention a whole lot of times. He said once the Most High decides to pass judgment, he's not going to tell you again. He's going to make sure you're one and done.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you twice. He said an affliction is not going to rise up a second time. There's no need because the Most High can eliminate you the first time. So the Most High, what he's saying is, where you don't want to be is on the Most High's bad side. Read on.
Verse 10. It says, for while they be folded together as thorns.
He said, but the problem is, men tend to fold themselves together as what?
As
Thorns.
thorns.
So although I may have a negative imagination, what man likes to do is to find other people that have a negative imagination,
Other thorns.
other thorns, and fold themselves together. So what I try to do is, because I don't want to be the only one with a negative mind, I like to find other people with a negative mind. And I like to intertwine myself with those individuals and befriend those individuals. That's dangerous. When somebody with a negative perspective and a negative outlook and a negative consciousness is trying to tie themselves together with somebody else that has a negative conscience. They say birds of a feather do what?
Flock
Yeah.
together.
And we know the scripture even say man cleaveth to his what?
Like.
His like. Man cleave to his like. So what men like to do is, since I have a mind frame that's naturally contrary to the way the Most High wants things done, so I look for people to agree with me. I look for people to say, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I agree with you. The way you look at things, the way you look at things as negatively as you do. We like to find partners that co-sign our negativity. And if you got somebody spreading negativity or speaking against the things that you know is right, then you got to be careful, because the Most High said you got to make sure that you don't be a thorn that likes to intertwine and interlock themselves together. He said be careful who your partners are. Be careful what you're listening to. Be Be careful to what you agree to and what you're co-signing with other individuals. And are you aligning your mind with other people's minds based off positivity and the right way to look at things? Or are you making a partner in crime? Is that what you're in the truth for? Is to find partners in crime. I'm in the truth to find other people that think negative like me. Well, let's find out if this is a good thing. Read that again.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 10. For while they be folded together as thorns.
It says, men fold themselves, they like to be folded together like thorns. Why is he using the terminology of thorns?
That's good.
Because they're destructive. They cause pain.
They're what?
Destructive.
Anybody?
Have a guess?
Yeah.
It says they're folded together like thorns. A thorn is something that cuts the flesh. It's irritating. You hate to interact with it. So I would assume from that point that when you deal with people, when people are considered or identified as thorns, to the Most High, they're conscious. Pricks them. They're pricks.
Some people may say pricks. What else? What makes them a prick?
Maybe the fact that when you're caught in it, it's hard to get out.
They may entrap you. What else?
The thorns get brought together. They make it more powerful because it's more thorns together. More powerful.
Let's find out why he uses the terminology of making sure that you're not intertwined like thorns together. You got to be careful having a negative imagination and to be found an enemy of the Most High. And it's more dangerous when you try to lock your mind in and find co-signers and people that agree with your negativity. Mawala, what you got?
I was just gonna say, as far as in your own negativity will correct you. In a sense, as far as
Well, let's find out. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 23 and let's read verse 6. Why would the Most High use a terminology such as be not like a thorn intertwined when he's talking about mankind? It says 2 Samuel chapter 23 verse 6.
2 Samuel 23 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 2 Samuel 23 and 6. 2 Samuel. You ready?
Yes, sir.
So 2 Samuel 23 and 6. But the sons of Belial.
He said, but the sons of Belial. On earth, he calls a certain type of man the sons of Belial. Belial means worthless or vain men. He said there are some men that on earth that are worthless or vain. What makes them worthless and vain? He said but the sons of Belial, read on.
The sons of Belial shall be all of them as thorns.
He says there's a certain man, there's a prototype of a personality. There's a personality type that the Most High classifies as a thorn. A thorn is not a piece of brush. He's using it as imagery or as a metaphor to describe a person. He said a thorn is a person. But what type of person? Read.
As thorns thrust away.
Go ahead.
Because they cannot.
It says because what makes these men thorns? What makes these men thorns? What makes mankind or these sons of Belial thorns? He said because what?
Because they cannot be taken with hands.
He says because you can't put your hands on them.
Wow.
What does that mean? You can't put your hands on them.
you can't correct.
You can't correct them. He said these are the type of people that like to intertwine themselves together with other thorns.
So they can't be
Because they can't be corrected. So he says when you do this, it activates the Most High's fury even that much more. When you're found, and your imagination is found to be contrary to the Most High, because you have a negative mind, and what makes you that thorn is that nobody can tell you what to do.
Wow.
What makes you that thorn is that nobody can handle you. Nobody can mold you. Nobody can fashion you. Nobody can bring assistance to you. This is what makes you that thorn. You're irreprovable. You can't be told what to do. You can't be guided. You can't be led. You can't be instructed. This is what makes men. This is what makes those type of sons of Belial useless.
I got pull definition.
Yeah.
Thorn. Worldly cares. Things which prevent the growth of good principles.
Yeah.
Things which prevent the growth of good principles. So a thorn is considered a spirit that their minds cares about more worldly endeavors, and they care more carnal focuses than spiritual practices and spiritual growth and spiritual forward momentum.
Yep.
Their minds more carnal or worldly than spiritual.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Can I get that definition of thorn one more time?
Thorn. Definition of 5:1828.
Oh, fine.
No, it's just 828. Webster.
That's what makes man's thorn. That's what makes mankind thorns. You can't put your hands on him. It's very important when you're in a church body that you have individuals that are there to help guide you. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 14 and explain
That's
this.
crazy. Because I was just looking at this.
1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 14.
1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 14.
Come on, my woman.
Being a thorn in the classroom, sir.
1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 14. Neglect not the gift that is in thee.
He says, don't neglect the gift that's in you. Every man has gifts and a purpose in a church body. Read on.
Which was given thee by prophecy.
It was given to you by prophecy, which is teaching. Somebody taught you the things that made you who you are, which is a presentable vessel to the Most High. Read on.
With the laying of the hands.
It says, but the prophets or the teachers need to do what to you? They got to lay their hands on you. But the Most High said, be not as the sons of Belial, which cannot be taken by hands.
Cannot be taken by hands.
They cannot. You cannot lay your hands on these individuals. Not in a bad way, laying hands like throwing hands on somebody. Not in a bad sense. Talking about in a good sense, in a biblical sense, in a church sense. You can't lead these individuals. You can't instruct these individuals. That's what makes them thorns. There's a reason why he's saying that he says that neglect not the gift that's in you, which was given to you by prophecy, which was given to you by what?
It says, with the laying of the hands of the presbytery.
And what's the presbytery?
1828. A body of elders.
It's a what?
A body of elders.
You don't have any elders. That's what makes you a thorn. You don't follow anybody. You don't take correction from anybody. You don't let nobody tell you what to do. In a biblical sense. You don't seek advice. You don't ask questions. You don't receive counsel well. You don't receive instruction. You do what you want to do. You defy what's been laid down as appropriate and obedient. You go against the grain. That's what makes these people thorns. That's what makes them sons of Belial.
That's crazy.
You need elders in a church environment to help shape you and mold you and manufacture and manipulate the better you and to get the best gifts out of you. You're not going to reap the best gifts by yourself, living by your own standards. You need elders in order to fashion you and to shape you like a potter does clay. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, too, you had brought up a point not too long ago, and you went over how ignorancy equals pride.
Yes.
So it's the same thing. Like, if I don't want to ask questions, it's because I don't want to or because I got a lot of pride in me. So I'm not going to allow somebody to dictate my decision-making or my choices because I think it's normal for me to do this. I think it's right for me to do this.
Oh, I don't want to look dumb.
I don't want to look dumb, and that's still pride.
That's still pride.
Uh,
I don't want to look dumb, and so I look for other people that don't want to look dumb either. So I look for other people
That's crazy.
to co-sign my pride. And that's not what the Most High gave you a church body for. He said he gave you the church body to lay their hands on you, which is the elders, the presbytery, which is the elders and what?
It says, neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy. with the laying of the hands of the presbytery.
Read.
Meditate upon these things.
It says, think about what they tell you to do. But the proud don't think about what they're told. It goes in one ear and out the other. But the thorn, the sons of Belial, they reject what they're told. They don't think about and actually take home what the advice and the counsels they received that day. They don't even write down the counsel they received that day. They don't give it a second thought about what it was told about what they should do to change. They don't think twice about it. Man, as soon as I'm out the door, my mind switches. The switch of Bible instruction goes off, and me and my life and what I want to do turns on. I'm not taking home what I was told. I'm not actually thinking about it and saying, man, you know what? This brother told me that I have these type of tendencies, and I'm prone to this type of behavior. Is this true? Hell no. That ain't me. Hell no.
He's tripping.
They tripping.
He's hating on me.
Oh, hell no. That ain't me. They jealous.
They don't know where I come from.
They want my freedom.
They want my freedom.
They want my freedom. They want my liberty. They want my lifestyle. They want to be like me.
They're just mad that they didn't get to be in the world like me.
Yeah.
Do what I did.
They don't have the choices that I have.
They're too biblical.
They're too restricted and confined.
They're too Bible.
They don't know how to have fun.
They're too much. They're like overboard.
Yeah, because I enjoy myself. They don't know how to enjoy themselves.
That's a real one.
I enjoy myself. But whatever the hell people tell themselves, we're just joking and laughing, but whatever the hell people tell themselves,
that's real.
They don't take home what they're told about themselves as far as what they need to change. They don't take none of that home. None of that goes home. As soon as class is over, Bible is closed, instruction is closed.
That's crazy. That's like going to a restaurant and it closes at 2 o'clock. You're like, you're hungry as hell. You're like, I need some food. But you go, every restaurant you go to is closed. Like going to Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
Well,
like you really do want some food, but it's Sunday, it's closed. It's with brothers, the same thing. Most High wants to work with you, but your mind's closed. You're like, I gotta wait till 6:30 in the morning to deal with this dude again.
Yeah, see him in the morning.
I see him 6:30.
If you see him in the morning. If you see him in the morning. If you choose to call. If you choose to show up. Yeah. So, but the Most High said, this is what makes men who they are, whether they're thorns, because you can't really do much with them. You can't do much with them. They're limited in what you can do to make them better. They're very limited.
And this is how the Most High looks at. He categorizes men.
Yes. This is how he categorizes men before he decides to bring the storms and the hail and the teeth of wild beasts and the spirits that be created for vengeance. This is what he's trying to hold these spirits back.
He's trying to hold them back.
But these are the spirits that activate the spirits of vengeance and calamity. You finished with that definition?
Can I ask this question? I'm trying to be overboard. Is it like cutting grass? Because sometimes when a person has grass, you look up and it's overran by weeds, thorns, monkey grass. It looks ugly, and you gotta get up and go to work every day. You keep looking at that lawn, and it drives you crazy.
Well, that's neglect. That's slothfulness. But this is just strictly thorns. These are just people that just reject counsel. They just reject what they're told, and then they try to find other people that agree with them in their perspective, that also disagree with the counsel. They can get a counsel or a class and say, yeah, I think they're being extreme. I think that was a little extreme.
It's a little one-sided.
That's one-sided. It's extreme in the context of what's being said.
Those tough words.
Yeah. But I'm trying to find people that agree with my mentality. That's dangerous. All scripture is given for what? Reproof. Inspiration of the Most High for reproof, correction, and instruction in righteousness. All the scripture is given for that. But what we do is we reject what the Most High is trying to tell us, and we don't take it home for homework. You don't take your counsels home for homework.
Wow.
You don't meditate on it and study. Man, is this true about me? Do you really think about it?
Yeah.
A brother could give you some solid, accurate advice on what could make you a better person, and you'll never mind it.
That's crazy.
It's not, man. That's too much. He just don't know me.
He don't
know me. That's all.
He don't know the real me.
He don't know the real me. See, if he knew the real me, he knew I really care.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I just been hurt.
The Most High. The Most High know the real you.
Yeah, he do.
Yes, he does.
And he call you a thorn.
Oh my
He said,
God.
He said, read that, finish that definition.
That's amazing, bro.
Is it Presbyterian?
Oh, Presbyterian?
Yes, sir.
Presbyterian. 1828 dictionary.
And who had the verse? The First Timothy.
I have it.
Okay, you got the verse too? Okay, go ahead.
You want the dictionary first?
You get to finish that definition.
God. Definition of presbytery: a body of elders in the Christian church.
Go ahead.
It says in ecclesiastical government, a judiciary.
Oh, what I wanted was it said a body of elders or ministers, because you don't necessarily you don't have to necessarily be an elder to give somebody good advice or scripture or counsel. There's ministers also that are in a church body that are there for your assistance to help you navigate and make your life better. But let's go back to 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 14.
1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 14. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy with the laying of the hands of the presbytery.
Go ahead.
Meditate
It says you're supposed to, what the church elders or the ministers tell you, you're supposed to meditate. What else?
upon these things.
What else?
Give thyself.
It says you're supposed to submit yourself to what level?
Give thyself wholly to them.
Holy, WHOLLY, means completely. But what does the thorn do?
The opposite.
I don't take everything that you tell me to do for face value. I take it with a grain of salt. It takes a hell of a lot for me to take instruction from you. I make it hard for you to give me instruction.
Yeah.
That's what makes people thorns. He says you're supposed to make it easy to be molded because you automatically submit yourself to what you're being told as far as the things about you that you need to fix. He says, give thyself wholly. Go ahead.
It says, meditate upon these things. Give thyself wholly to them.
It says you're supposed to submit yourself completely to these things as far as what changes you got to make in a church body. Otherwise, you're classified as a thorn. Because men can't put their hands on you. They can't shape you. They can't mold you. These are the ones who danger, calamity, death, and destruction is waiting on the Most High's commands to deliver. Yes.
So, just thinking of myself, I tend to get to a point where I guess I can be, and then I get to a point where I stop allowing somebody to love me where it's a fear, it's a breaking point. How do you train yourself to not, whenever that instinct to pull over, stop being molded happens, how do you train yourself not to do it? Continue to be molded despite how you feel?
You have to communicate, number one. You have to communicate that this is the spirit that's coming upon you. So that, for one, if you have, which in most cases, when you have counselors that's been counseling, they're sensitive to your situation and they know you. They know your mentality. They know your threshold. They know your breaking point. But they also know, okay, you have, in order to develop, in order to grow, you have to identify what it is that's got you preventing the counsel or stopping the counsel. And like you said, it's fear. Then if it's fear, you have to communicate that it's fear. You have to let it be known, I am afraid to submit completely to what you're saying. You have to communicate that. If you don't communicate it, then a person will just take it as you're just being negligent, you're just being disobedient, you're being disrespectful, you're being out of order or chaotic, or you're just being uncouth and uncivilized, or you're acting beastly. So that they don't interpret what the situation is wrongly, it needs to be communicated. Hey, I'm afraid to do what's being asked for me to do because I'm uncomfortable. And most people want control of their surroundings and control of their situation, and they don't like being out of control. Now we know why people don't like to yield control. Ecclesiastes 29:7. Read that. Yeah, hold that. So we're going to come back to Nahum.
Ecclesiastes 29:7. Many therefore have refused to lend for other men's ill dealing.
And lend just means to give themselves. Why are people refuse to give themselves? Because of what?
Other men's ill dealing.
Because of what?
Fearing to be defrauded.
What causes people not to submit all the way?
Fearing to be defrauded.
Why do they have a fear of being defrauded? Why are people skeptical? Because what? Because somebody else broke my trust. Because the people that used to have the control over me abused that control. Because the people that did have power or control over me, or the authority over me, they took advantage of that authority. And they hurt me in that authority, with that authority. So therefore, I don't let anybody with authority control me. Because I'm afraid. Because of what happened to me before. That fear is not normal. That fear is taught. That fear is not something that's... when you look at children are automatically trusting. That's why you have to have thousands of counsels with kill children. Don't talk to strangers. You don't know them. Don't just walk up and give everybody hugs. You don't sit on everybody's lap. You don't know them. Because kids are automatically trusting. Well, what happens when that trust gets broken? You don't trust it no more. You don't trust people. You don't trust authority. And you don't trust... Fear is just a remnant of what's left over when somebody broke and stabbed you in the back or did you dirty. What's left is fear. So that's normal, but that thing is taught. The scriptures say the Most High did not give us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and what? Sound mind. The Most High didn't give us the spirit of fear. The world gave us fear. But that has to be communicated. And you know what helps is letting it be known who broke my trust. And why am I so afraid to yield and follow instructions? Make sense, sis? Let's go back to Dahum. Nahum chapter 1, and we're on verse 8. Give me verse. Yes. Number 10. Yes. I want number 10. Yes.
Nahum chapter 1, verse 10.
Go ahead.
Nahum chapter 1, verse 10. For while they be folded together as thorns.
So now we know what he's talking about. He's not talking about a thorn bush. He's talking about men that find other people that agree with them in their negativity. He says, while they be folding themselves together as thorns. Read on.
And while they be drunken.
He says, and while they be drunken. So he's talking about two different classes of people. People that have a negative imagination, that refuse to be corrected and instructed, that don't allow any of the presbytery or elders to give them advice and counsel, and they make it very difficult for elders to deliver counsel to them. And then he's talking about another type of person. He calls him a drunkard. And where we're going to find this personality type at? Go to Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 18.
21 and 18?
Yes, sir.
That's me. Okay.
Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 18 reads. You ready?
Yep.
If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son.
Oh, man, he said if a man got a stubborn and what?
Rebellious son.
Read on.
Which will not obey the voice of his father.
Oh, man, what are we dealing with?
A rebellious son.
He's a rebellious son.
Darn.
He's stubborn. He won't obey. Sounds familiar?
Yeah.
Read on.
Which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother.
He said he don't respect neither one. That's parental authority. Let alone a church body.
That's against the
That's his immediate authority. His parents. Read.
And that when they have chastened him,
and they chasten him, so they spank him and they whoop him and they put the smack down on him a little bit. Read on.
Will not hearken unto them,
but he still don't listen. Read on.
Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and bring him out unto the elders of his city,
Go ahead.
and unto the gates of his place.
Go ahead.
And they shall say unto the elders of his city, This our son is stubborn and rebellious.
He said he's stubborn and rebellious. Read on.
He will not obey our voice.
But what does he do?
He is a glutton.
He's a what?
A glutton.
He's impulsive. He does what he wants to do, and whatever idea comes to his mind, and he follows whatever passion that jumps in his mind. What else?
And a drunkard.
And he's a what?
Drunkard.
So when we're talking about the Bible, we're talking about a drunkard. A drunkard is symbolic of a person that's what?
Rebellious.
That's rebellious. That's stubborn. That's not obedient.
Wow.
Impulsive.
That's the personality of the drunkard.
That's the personality type of the drunkard. He says he won't obey, he won't follow. He's rebellious. Now, good thing we're not in Deuteronomy time frame.
Thank the Most High, bro.
Yeah, thanks be to all glory and thanks be to the Most High, because what is the outcome of that kind of son? Read.
Verse 21. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shalt thou put evil away from among you.
It said that's evil, and you got to put that evil out of here. That would have been the determination in Moses' time, but we're not in Moses' time. We're in Christ's time. So you know what we got to do? We gotta find fanciful ways of explaining and diagnosing men's problems, and not just classifying men as drunkards or thorns or evil or rebellious or impulsive. We got to use terminology like ADHD, attention deficit disorder, or inattentive deficit disorder, or bipolar, or they're struggling with depression, or we got to pretty it up and put sprinkles on it and sugar on it and say it's anxiety. He's suffering from anxiety. But that wouldn't have been sprinkled on it back then. No. It wouldn't have been, Moses, he's still with a little bit of anxiety. He's still with a little ADHD.
He has control issues.
He has control issues.
Anger management issues.
Anger management problems. No, that wouldn't have been.
Is the solver of that. Like, people give medicine, and then he would have been given a stone. That was the medicine he was going to get.
Yeah, he got the rocks. Yeah, but we're in a different era. So therefore, with us being in the time of Christ, we just can't stone men like that. We don't. You know what we do? We gotta wreck brains and spend hours upon hours talking about what is this person's issue, and can we get to the bottom of it, and can we give them assistance, and do we first know what the problem is? We have to be like a think tank.
Yeah.
Sitting back thinking like, damn, we meditate on these men and women, and what is going on in their mind? What are they thinking? What have they been through? What are they doing? Why do they do what they do? What is their problem? And that's an elder's responsibility. But you got to make it easier on your elders by submitting to what they tell you to do as they rack their brains to try to find out what is the problem. Because we're not in this day and age where that person that just will not listen, there's a solution. Get rid of them. We can't do that. We don't do that. Now, although we have revolving doors, we have been very merciful, and will continue to be very merciful to individuals that have issues. They will continue to still sit back and ask questions. Why is this person, or what don't they understand? What are they battling with? The Most High said, my people are destroyed for lack of what?
Knowledge.
So what knowledge do they lack?
Knowledge.
They lack the Most High's knowledge. So can we give these individuals the Most High's knowledge so they can fix their problems? So they can identify their issues and go on with their life in a better capacity? That's our responsibility. But we just can't give up on them like this. We try not to. But the Most High said that sometimes He has to deliver spirits to individuals that have these mentalities. All right, so let's go back to Nahum and let's read that one more time.
Nahum.
10.
Nahum chapter 1 verse 10. It says, For while they be folded together as thorns, and while they are drunken as drunkards, they shall be devoured.
It says the Most High will do what to these individuals?
They shall be devoured.
It says they shall be devoured. And now we understand whence comes the tornadoes, and whence comes the fires, and the hailstones, and the weird weather patterns, and the snake bites, and all the other tragedies that happen to man. Now we understand why. Because they're unchanging individuals. These are individuals that are not changing. And they make it very difficult to change. They make it hard to change them. He says they will be devoured. Finish that.
As stubble.
He says they shall be devoured as stubble. Read on.
Fully dry.
He said, how fast does dry stubble burn? Is it hard to catch fire? No. Nah, man, that's an easy smash. That's what the Most High said. That's an easy smash. He said they'll burn like stubble that's dried out. That's incendiary.
Light work.
It's light work. So it's nothing for the Most High to smash, but that's not always what the Most High wants to do. And that's not what the Most High wants us to do. Although we see tragedy on earth, we have to put it in perspective. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14 and 15.
First Corinthians 2 and 14.
Read that.
1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of the Most High.
But the natural man makes it very difficult to receive the things of the Spirit of the Most High. It makes it very difficult. That sons of Belial, that thorn, that rebellious drunkard mentality, personality type, makes it very hard for them to get the understanding of the Spirit. To know what the Most High is trying to show them and recognize what the Most High is trying to teach them. Read on.
For they are foolishness unto him.
Because the way the Most High thinks and the way they think, they don't comprehend it. They look at the Most High's way as foolishness. That doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to me. Read on.
Neither can he know them.
It says neither can he know them, meaning they don't understand. They can't comprehend what the Most High is trying to do with them. Read.
Because they are spiritually discerned.
Because they're diametrically opposed. They're completely opposite. Their way of thinking is completely opposite to the Most High's way of thinking. Therefore, they can't see the light. They don't understand the big picture. They can't get the big picture. Read on.
15. But he that is spiritual.
It says, but he that is spiritual. Read on.
Judgeth all things. Yet he himself is judged of no man.
He says, he that is spiritual judgeth all things what?
Yet.
He that is spiritual.
Yeah, he that is spiritual judgeth all things. Yet he himself is judged of no man.
Read on.
For who hath known the mind of the Lord?
It says, because who really understands to think that can think like the Most High thinks? Read on.
That he may instruct him.
So that he can be instructed. So because the way the Most High thinks is so far removed from the way that man thinks, the Most High has to give man somebody to follow that he can understand. Because the Most High's ways are not our ways. The Most High's thoughts are not our thoughts. They're two different polarities and opposite poles. So the Most High has to give us somebody in the middle that can think like him but not be so far away from him. Who is that individual? Read on.
But we have the mind of Yahushua,
which is Christ, because our thoughts are so disconnected from the Father, the Most High has to give us Christ. So that at least if we can understand Christ, then also we can understand who?
The Most High.
We can also have the mind of the Most High. If we can at least develop the mind of Christ, we can understand the Most High. Because without Christ, the Most High makes no sense to us. Yeah. Without Christ, the way the Most High thinks is foolishness. You understand this point?
Okay.
All right. So we have to have the Most High to give us Christ to learn how to think like him, and he's the middleman to the Most High. So at least if we can't think like the Most High, we better at least learn to think like who?
Christ.
Christ. All right? And we have to think like Christ also when we see tragedy. Like I said, when we see 90 tornadoes in a weekend, flipping over houses and schools and businesses and churches, and killing up to 43 people so far. We have to think like Christ with any tragedy or any calamity or any disaster, whether it be natural or unnatural. We have to learn how does Christ look at this situation. Now, the question is there a Christ-like way to look at tragedy? Because when we look at these storms, we look at these fires in California, what do we tell ourselves when we see these storms and these people's houses burn up? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. What do we say when we see these tornadoes and storms hit people's lives?
Most High is angry.
Most High is angry. What else? Let's be honest though.
The spirit wasn't defended.
The spirit wasn't defended. Say it again.
Glad it ain't me.
Glad it ain't me. That's what I said. Let's be honest.
Well, a lot of people say it's not fair.
Some people say it's not fair. What else? That's crazy. What else?
Did all of them deserve that?
Say it again.
Did all of them deserve that?
So did they deserve that? Some people say they was wicked.
Yeah.
They did deserve that.
Yeah.
You know, California got liberal laws. You know, maybe the Most High was punishing.
And you voted for that.
They voted for Fires Act.
Kind of.
So let's be honest. Is that the way we think about it when we see tragedy?
Yeah.
Some of us do. Let's be honest. The Most High is stinging. How many times we heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Man, the Most High is stinging. He's stinging people. They getting stung. The Most High laying out his fury. The Most High is angry with them. Is there a Christ-like way to look at tragedy? It is.
People say biblical proportions. That term.
Fires of biblical proportions. Rains of biblical proportion. Floods of biblical proportion.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's compared to a biblical proportion. They're injecting the Most High in it, but they're saying the Most High is punishing. But is there a Christ-like way to look at tragedy? It is. Where is it? That's why I'm here. That's why we're here. Let's go to Luke chapter 13 and verse 1. Whoever got it.
Luke chapter 13,
Let Nahum go.
verse 1. It says, there were present at that season some that told him of the Galileans.
Okay, so now he said, there was present at that season some let me get there. He says there were present at that season some that told him of the Galileans. Go ahead.
Whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices.
Stop. So it was some disciples that were around Christ, some believers that were around Christ, and they were informing Christ of a tragedy. They said Pilate had taken some men in Galilee, some Galileans, and he killed those men, and he took their blood, which is a human sacrifice, and he mixed their blood with animal blood, and he burned that blood on the altar.
What?
For an offering. That's a human sacrifice mixed with an animal sacrifice.
Probably not good.
That's not
That don't sound good to me.
You have never read that the Most High required that human sacrifice to be thrown on the altar, except for, the sacrifice of Christ. But this is what Pilate did. Pilate took them Galileans and he killed a couple of them, commingled their blood with the animals and put it on the sacrifice. That's crazy. That's a tragedy. That's unheard of.
Pilate?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He's out of this world. Huh?
That's Pontius Pilate. Now we're going to examine First of all, why did they come to Christ and tell him this? We can suppose and conjecture. Why would they come to Christ in the first place to tell him this? Go to Luke chapter 4, verse 14.
God. Luke chapter 4 and verse 14 says, and Yahweh shall return in the power of the Spirit into Galilee. And there went out a fame of him through all the region round about. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And, as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day.
Now, it says Christ returned to Galilee, which is a province of Israel. And he said, in particular, he came to Nazareth, where he was brought up. So, Christ was raised where?
In Nazareth.
In Nazareth, which is a city in where? In Galilee.
Okay.
Galilee is a province. So, he said, Christ came and returned back to the synagogue where he was raised at, which is in Nazareth, the city in Galilee. And he got in the temple and he read a verse like he did since he grew up. That's what he was doing. That's what he would often do growing up. So that was Christ's hometown. So we could say that, hey, these men had told Christ that Pilate had killed these Galileans, possibly because that's where Christ is from. That's his home country, a home area. That's his area of residence, right? That's his hometown. So we can say, okay, these men brought this information to Christ about the wicked deeds of Pontus because he's from Galilee. Or we can look at it like this. Go to John chapter 1. I'm sorry. Give me John chapter 1, verse 45.
John chapter 1, verse 45. Philip findeth Nathanael, and saith unto him, we have found him, of whom Moses in the law and the prophets did write, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph.
Go ahead. He said, we found him. Read on.
And Nathanael said unto him, can there any good come out of Nazareth?
And now Nazareth, we know, is in Galilee. He said, but he asked the question, can any what?
Can anything come good out of Nazareth?
So obviously, Nazareth was not known for good men.
Yeah.
So can we say that those men were put to death because ain't no good men in Galilee anyway?
It's good to say that. It's easy to say that.
Yeah, that's a passive statement, but yeah, it's easy to say that.
That's like saying Katrina hit for a reason.
Yeah.
Because it's the murder capital.
Because it was at the time Katrina came, it was the murder capital.
Yeah.
And they had a certain festival or
Most
walk.
like that similar.
They had a walk on the day or around that time period.
Well, and some people say that the word Katrina means to purge.
Wow. Wow.
So some people put that together too.
That's crazy.
So, and after Katrina, it went back to the murder capital. How about that?
Yeah.
So, how about that? But
Didn't solve the problem.
didn't solve the problem. But can we say that maybe in Galilee, it wasn't really a lot of good men out of Galilee anyway?
Yeah.
Can we say that? Or can we say it's Pilate's fault? He's just a wicked man.
Yeah.
He's just a wicked man. Who is Pilate? Now we already said who he is. He's Pontius Pilate. But who is he in particular? Go to Matthew 27:11.
Come.
And what we're doing right now is examining tragedy. But do we look at it how we look at it and say, yeah, it is a tragic situation for somebody to take human blood and animal blood and mix it together and put it up for as a sacrifice?
That's crazy.
That is wicked. Well, how do we look at it?
Matthew chapter 27 and verse 11 reads, and Yahushua stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, art thou the king of the Jews? And Yahushua said unto him, thou sayest. And when he was accused of the chief priests and elders. He answered nothing. Then said Pilate unto him.
So Pilate was the what?
The governor.
He was a governor.
He was
He was a governor. Read it again, Matthew 27:11.
Come. And Yahushua stood before the governor. And the governor asked him,
So he stood before who?
the governor,
Who was the governor?
Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate was the governor. He was the governor of Judea. He was the governor of Judea. But he killed the Galileans. Now, if you look at a map, you have Judea is in the southern province, and there's one more province above Judea, and then there's Galilee. So Pontus was out of his jurisdiction. He was killing Galileans, and he wasn't the governor of Galilee.
That's crazy.
Herod Antipas was the governor of Galilee, but Pontus was killing men out of his jurisdiction.
That's a problem, right?
That's a problem. So we could say that did Herod and Pontius Pilate have beef? Why is he out of his jurisdiction killing men that ain't even in his jurisdiction? Did they have beef?
Yeah.
We know this is true when you go to Luke 23. Go to Luke chapter 23, verse 12, 11 and 12. Let's find out.
Luke 23 and 12.
Read 11 and 12.
Luke chapter 23, verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Luke chapter 23 and 11. And Herod with his men of war set him at naught and mocked him and arrayed him in a gorgeous robe and sent him again to Pilate.
He says, so Herod stripped Christ, mocked him, put a robe on him, abused him, and they sent him off to Pilate. Read on.
And the same day, Pilate and Herod were made friends together.
It says, but that wasn't until they crucified Christ. It says they weren't made friends. They weren't friends until they both agreed to kill Christ.
Wow.
So prior to that time, they were what?
Enemies.
They were enemies. So why was Pontius Pilate out of jurisdiction killing Galileans? It could have been that it was a turf war between him and Herod. So we could say that those Galileans got caught in the crossfire.
Wow.
Of a beef that existed between Herod and Pontius. Because they didn't become friends until they both agreed to crucify Christ. But up until that point, they was beefing. So we could say that the Galileans was wicked. We could say because there's nobody good come out of Galilee. No good men come out of there. They ain't known for producing good men. We could say that Herod's wicked. We could say that, hey, they got caught in the crossfire. We could say a lot of things.
There's multiple situations.
Right, exactly. There's multiple scenarios that we could bring out to say, why was he doing this? So, go here, one more. Go to John chapter 18, verse 35.
Don't thought about that, bro.
Well,
the politics of the time period, how different governors were interacting.
yeah,
How that affects people.
They didn't like each other. They didn't like each other at all. 18:35.
John chapter 18, verse 35. Pilate answered, am I a Jew?
Pilate asked Christ, am I a Jew? Go ahead.
Thine own nation and the chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done?
He told Christ, man, I'm not a Jew. Your people delivered you to me. What did you do wrong? What was Pontius Pilate? Is he saying I'm not a Jew? Pontius was a what? It was a Roman. He was an Edomite. He was a white man. Or we could just say that's just what white folks do. We could just blame it on the fact that he was an Edomite. There's multiple ways to look at it. We can look at it and say, well, there's no good men out of Galilee. We can say that, man, it was a beef between him and Herod, and the Galileans got caught in the crossfire. We can say that, man, he's an Edomite. Of course he ain't gonna have no compassion. He ain't a Jew anyway. He didn't care about the temple and sacrifices. He's an Edomite. There's multiple ways that we can suppose why these men had to get put to death. They're spitting. Right? And don't get me wrong, he was a menace to Israel and to Christ. He was a menace to Christ, and as a matter of fact, now I want you to read that. I want you to read this right here for me. I want you to read. Go to page 42 in Eusebius. Page 42. Don't get me wrong, Pilate was a menace.
Go.
I want you to start right here. It says on the Josephus.
Come. On the Josephus. On the virtues, Josephus also agreed with him, who likewise intimates that the calamities of the whole nation took their rise from the times of Pilate.
It says that the calamity of Israel really didn't start until the rise of who?
Pilate.
Pilate was the one that initiated a lot of calamities to the children of Israel. He's the one that initiated, during his reign, he was hell on the children of Israel. Read on.
It says, and the crimes against our Savior. Let us hear then what he also said in the second book of the Jewish war. Quote,
which is in the Josephus.
Yeah.
We don't. Which, since we have it here, there's no reason for us to read it out of the Josephus. But Eusebius is just quoting what's already been read or stated and written out of Josephus. Read on.
Pilate being sent to Tiberias as procurator of Judea.
Procurator
of Judea. At night, carried the covered images.
He said at night, purposely, to vex the children of Israel, he carried some covered up images. Meaning he had sheets over some images. And he did it at night under the cloak of darkness. He carried some images where?
Of Caesar into the temple.
He said he did it with blankets, covered the damn statues. And he brought it in at night and he threw them in the temple. He erected these statues in the temple. Read.
These are called statues. The following day, they excited the greatest disturbances. They excited the greatest disturbance among the Jews.
Of course. One morning you go to the temple and you wake up and you see a bunch of Caesar statues in the middle of the temple. Of course you're going to be vexed. Of course you're going to be like, what the hell is this? You got Roman images erected in it. Of course you're going to be upset. You should be upset. Read on.
For they were confounded at the sight.
Like, who the hell put these in here, man? And you got this guy off laughing, man. This guy's laughing. He did it on purpose. And he did it to vex the children of Israel. He knew it to piss them off. This is the kind of man Pilate was. Read.
As a contemptuous prostitution of their legal institutions. For they do not allow any image to be set up in their city.
Go ahead.
Comparing these accounts with the rise of the evangelist, you will perceive that it was not long before the exclamation came upon them, which they uttered under the same Pilate, and by which they cried again and again that they had no other king but Caesar.
So he was making them admit who their king was. Go ahead.
After this, the same historian recorded, another calamity overtook them in these words, quote, but after these things, he, i.e. Pilate, excited another tumult by expending the public treasure, which was called korban,
which we know is used for the priests, for the widows and the fatherless. He took the korban money and did what?
he expended the public treasure, which is called korban, in the construction of an aqueduct.
So he took the korban money and built some waterways, some water pipes. This guy, read on.
This extended nearly 300 stadia, furlongs, i.e. from the city. The multitude were sorely grieved at it. And when Pilate came to Jerusalem, surrounding the tribunal.
So at this point, Pilate was just a menace to the children of Israel. During his reign, he purposely started doing things to vex the children of Israel. Setting up statues in the temple, taking the korban money from the priests that goes to the widows and the fatherless, putting community bonds, building municipalities and infrastructure on the city, just stealing money, doing just reckless things. And then he also set up he staged a little Antifa riot.
Yeah.
Where he hid men and soldiers with plain Jewish clothes, and then started a rally and had some billy clubs. And then as soon as the riot started, he started knocking people out and killing some with the billy clubs.
Yeah, plainclothes cops.
Plainclothes cops, man. You know, so he staged riots. He did a lot of things to vex the children of Israel. Finish that part right here, where it says the multitude.
The multitude thus overawed by the misfortune of those slain held their peace. Kind of like a, what's the word for it?
They were shocked. They were shocked, man.
But it was the same equivalent shock as a George Floyd.
Floyd.
George Floyd, slack it.
It was shock and awe. They were terrified and afraid at the same time. Go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14, verse 9 through 12.
Let John go.
Yeah, let John go.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 9, page 66.
Read that.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 9. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto the Most High.
It says the Most High hates men like Pilate. He said the ungodly and the ungodly's what?
And his ungodliness.
And all the things that he does that's ungodly is hateful to who?
Unto the Most High.
The Most High hate guys like Pilate. Tyrants, man. Read on.
Verse 10. For that which is made shall be punished together with them that made it.
Remember, he the one that put statues in the temple. Read.
Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles, there shall be a visitation.
It says the Most High is going to visit the nations also. The Most High is going to visit Pilate and whoever else, Nero, and whoever else put up statues in the temple. Or anybody that worship images or idols. He said he's going to visit the Gentiles too. Read on. Because remember, Pilate's not a Jew. Read on.
God. Because in the creature of the Most High, they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men.
So he was purposely erecting statues in the temple to be a stumbling block to men, to turn the worship of men from the Most High to Caesar. Read.
God. It says, and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise.
Read on.
That's the equivalent of what they were doing. And I'm not sure what state it was, but they put a Baphomet statue at the courthouse.
Yeah.
Remember when it said in the courthouse, it's still wrong.
But because America says there's freedom of religion,
yeah.
Just like you can put 10 commandments in front of the courthouse, the Satanists said we should have the Baphomet erected at the courthouse also, because it's freedom of religion. Yes, sir.
Those statues specifically is in Chicago and Detroit.
That's horrible. Well, who's
two kids on the side?
Yeah, with the kids on the
one black kid and one little white girl.
Yeah, but who's in Chicago? Who's in Detroit?
Our people.
A lot of our people in Chicago, Detroit. They ain't putting it in Iowa.
No.
They're not putting it. They're not putting it where the Latter-day Saints is at.
They put it in Utah.
They ain't putting it in Utah. Yeah, but he said, what are they doing? Read verse 12.
God, verse 12. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14 and verse 12. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication.
Read on.
And the invention of them, the corruption of life.
It said this gives birth to the corruption of life when you deviate serving the Most High and putting that love and attention and devotion that should be given to the Most High and giving it to an idol. This is the beginning of the corruption of life on earth. And that's what Pilate was doing. He wasn't just being a butthead, killing people. This dude was corrupting souls. This dude was like Adolf Hitler of the first century. This dude was a demon to the children of Israel. He was corrupting souls. Read on.
Right, 1 verse 13.
Yeah, give me verse 13.
Okay. Verse 13. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vainglory of men.
They said for the vainglory, because men want to be worshipped, like Caesar. Read on.
For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end.
Read verse 16.
Verse 16. Thus in process of time, an ungodly custom, grown strong, was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings.
And eventually that became law, is that we had to put the images of the Romans in the temples. That became a law during the time of Gaius Caesar.
Wow. That's
that
a good
became
point
a
to know.
law.
That's a good point to know.
Well, but this is the beginning of corrupting people's soul. So yes, Pilate is a demon. Yes, Pilate was a menace to the children of Israel. Yes, he was. Yes, sir.
And furthermore, it seems like, when the Jews took him up to Pilate as a formal prosecution, he just perhaps took it as another chance to make a mockery of them and their so-called Christ.
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
I'm saying, seeing that Pilate didn't have any respect for the Jews.
No, not at all.
These things. I mean, it was a formal prosecution when the Jews took Yahweh Shai in front of them for prosecution.
Yes.
He was like, okay, yeah, sure.
But you know the way he took it. Think about what so far. Think about all the events that Pilate has done.
Right.
And then when they bring Christ in front of one of the worst guys,
right.
that you could ever, one of the worst governors you could ever bring him to.
Right.
To bring him to this kind of guy and get him prosecuted in front of this kind of guy. That's why he was a menace to the children of Israel and to Christ. He didn't even take Christ serious. Matter of fact, go to Matthew.
And by the way, I used to think by looking at the movies that he was sinless over how I thought he was a good guy for saying, okay, I wipe my hands of it, like he was giving him a real chance, but he was probably mocking him.
I'll tell you what, before we go there.
Bad governor,
right? Give me John chapter 18, verse 35 one more time. But this time, give me verse 38. Whoever had John.
You want me to read 35 again?
Yeah, 35 one more time.
John chapter 18, verse 35.
Read that.
Yes, sir.
St. John chapter 18, verse 35. Pilate answered, I am a Jew. Am I a Jew?
He said, am I a Jew? Pilate said, I'm not a Jew. Read.
Thine own nation and the chief priest have delivered thee unto me.
Go ahead.
What hast thou done?
He said, what have you done? What did you do wrong? Jump up to verse 38.
Good.
Verse 38. Pilate saith unto him, What is truth? And when he had said this, he went out again unto the Jews, and saith unto them, I find him no fault at all.
So this is why in the movies you think that Pilate is a good guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
This is why you think he's a good guy, because he said out of his own mouth, I really don't find nothing wrong with this guy.
And that's mockery in itself, almost.
Yeah. But the problem with Pilate wasn't the fact that he was a man of good judgment. he wasn't a man of a strong conscience. Was his problem. Now, Ward went over a whole class about the man with a little soul.
Yeah.
Pilate was not only a man of a little soul, but he was a man of a little conscience.
Mm.
He didn't feel bad for what he did.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I will show you why. Go to Matthew chapter 27, verse 17.
Come.
Because he said, I really don't find nothing wrong with this man.
Matthew chapter 27, verse 17 reads, Therefore, when they gathered together, Pilate said unto them, Whom will ye that I release unto you?
He said, who do y'all want set free? Go ahead.
Barabbas?
Y'all want Barabbas set free? Or who?
Or Yahushua, which is called Christ?
Go ahead.
For he knew that for envy they had delivered him.
He says he was only holding up Barabbas and holding up Christ because he knew that they were what?
Envy they had delivered him.
So did he really care about righteousness?
No.
Did he care? Did he really did he really feel bad for this guy because they were trying an innocent man? No. Nah. This man Pilate didn't have no damn conscience. He didn't have a strong conscience. He didn't feel guilty when he did something wrong. He said he was only giving them a choice because he knew they was jealous of him. He was making sport of the whole crucifixion.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He was making fun of it. It was a game to him.
It was
Right.
it was a cover up behind, with not the whole thing being a cover up, but behind his intentions behind it.
Yeah, it was a sport. It was out of sport. It was a game.
He's been playing games. This dude been going at night and covering this. Come on.
Bringing statues in the temple
that's
at
the
night.
spirit of
Right.
he gets something off of people being vexed. There's people that enjoy other people's vexation.
Right. And that's what kind of man this is. It wasn't about he really felt bad for Christ. He didn't really feel bad for Christ. He was only holding up a decision and a poll and a vote just because he knew they was jealous. Read.
Come, verse 18. For he knew that for envy they had delivered him.
Go ahead.
He knew. That was his motivation.
See, he knew it, man. He didn't feel bad for what he was doing. He had a little conscience, bro. He didn't feel bad. Read.
Come, when he was set down on the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, Have thou nothing to do with this just man?
It says
man?
Now Pilate had a wife, and Pilate's wife said, "Listen, leave that man alone. Leave that man Yahushua alone. Leave him alone." Why did she say leave that man? Don't have nothing to do with that just man. That's a just man. Leave him alone. His wife told him that. You know?
Come, for I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him.
She said, "I've been getting nightmares. This man has been giving me nightmares. I've been seeing things in my dreams about this man. Leave that man alone." He was warned. Did he listen to his wife?
That's crazy.
The Most High was plaguing that woman's dreams.
Most High gave him opportunity.
Yeah, he was speaking through her to get to him. But this guy this dude is numb. Has a numb conscience. Read.
Come, verse 20.
That means she had to be his moral compass, should it be his moral conscience, because he lacked that.
He lacked the conscience.
She had to be that for him. And sometimes with these governors and these leaders, they had to lean on other people to give them some kind of roundabout judgment.
Yeah.
Or some kind of well-rounded perspective.
He wasn't well-rounded at all. Even his wife was able to pinpoint some of the issues he was dealing with and couldn't see a righteous man if he was standing in front of him. His wife was like, "Listen, man, I've been having bad dreams about this man. That's a just man. Leave him alone. Let him go." Read.
Come, verse 20. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas and destroy Yahushua.
So now, because he didn't have a strong conscience, he didn't feel bad for what he did wrong. His wife tried to warn him that that's a just man. Let him go. And then he was still like, "Man, these people are pressing on me, man. The people are pressing on me." It didn't take much to convince him not to do what he should have felt bad for doing. Read on.
Verse 21. The governor answered and said unto them, Whether of the twain will ye that I release unto you?
And he still asks, which one y'all want? Even after his wife told him, let him go. He still told the people, which one y'all want? Y'all want Barabbas, which was a known murderer, or Christ, which had no guilt, no sin? He said, which one y'all want? It was a game to him. It shows you how unconscious and ungodly Pontus's mind is. How disconnected he is. He was a menace to the children of Israel and to Christ. Read.
Come. Whether of the twain will ye that I release unto you? They said, Barabbas.
He said, give us Barabbas. Read.
Pilate said unto them, what shall I do then with Yahushua, which is called Christ? They all said unto him, let him be crucified. And the governor said, why?
And he said, why y'all want to kill him? Read.
What evil have he done? But they cried out the more, saying, let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person.
But what about the blood of the Galileans?
No.
Was he innocent of the blood of the Galileans, that he killed them and took their blood and mixed it with animal blood and put it on a sacrifice as a sacrifice? Was he innocent of the blood of the men that he billy clubbed using soldiers in plain clothes?
Nope.
Oh man, this guy wasn't innocent. But on the movie, he comes across as an innocent guy.
Right, especially with the washing.
With the washing of his hands like he did something just. This guy wasn't just. This guy wasn't innocent. Yes, sir.
I'm just asking, do you think he was in that mode as far as being in cahoots with the crowd, because back in them days the king wanted to be on the good side of the people, or he was just having mockery fun?
He was having mockery fun, and he didn't really feel bad in his position.
Oh, okay.
He really didn't feel bad. Now, there's several ways, like I said, I chose this Luke 13 to show you about a tragedy and show you the multiple ways you can look at a tragedy. You could say it was the people that weren't good. You could say that Pilate was no good. You could say they got caught in the crossfire between him and Herod. You could say a lot of things about what happened to those people. And I want to read this because even Philo has an assessment about how he looks at wicked men. I want you to read this right here. Page 752. And start here. And just as cities keep executioners. And I want you to stop when you get to right, consumes itself. Yeah, read that.
All right. And just as cities keep executioners for the punishment of murderers.
It says, Philo says, cities keep executioners. You got guys that their job is to execute people, right? We have a lot of those in Texas. Read.
For the punishment of murderers and traitors and sacrilegious persons, not because they approve of the dispositions of the men, but because they have need of the serviceable part of their ministrations.
It says they're just doing their job, right? These executioners are doing their job. Read.
In the same manner, the ruler of this mighty city.
Stop. He also looks at the Most High the same way. He says the Most High, just as a government has executioners on payroll to do a job, he says the Most High also has people that do a job. Read.
It says, in the same manner, the ruler of this mighty city, the world appoints tyrants like ordinary executioners.
He's saying that the Most High has tyrants like Pilate for a purpose. He has them there for a purpose. Read.
To be over those cities in which he sees that violence.
He says the Most High sets up guys like Pilate to oversee cities that what?
In which he sees that violence.
For cities that have a lot of violence. So what Philo is saying is the Most High creates guys like Pilate to oversee violent cities, to be an executioner to violent men. Read.
God. And injustice and impiety prevail, and all other kinds of evils in abundance, that he may by these means put an end to their existence.
He says the Most High uses guys like Pilate to eradicate evil men. That's what he's saying. That's his supposition of why guys like Pilate exist. He said God put him there to remove evil men. Read on.
Line 40. And then he thinks it right to pursue the guilty, as men who have been serving these vices from the impulses of an impure and pitiless soul.
So he said these men will not change, so they're not going to change. So God has evil guys like evil tyrants on the earth to remove guys that are not going to change. That's his analysis of why there's evil tyrants existing on the earth. Read on.
With every punishment imaginable as the ringleaders. For as the power of fire, when it has consumed the fuel.
He says the Most High uses guys like Pilate as he does fire. He says, but once they run out of fuel, because like a fire, it runs out of fuel. And what happens when a fire runs out of fuel? It goes out. He says, so the Most High uses wicked tyrants or rulers like a fire. Their job is to eradicate the evil on the earth. And then like a fire, go ahead.
For as the power of the fire, when it has consumed the fuel which was given to it, at last consumes itself also.
It says like a fire, it eats itself up. It consumes itself. So let's see what happens to Pilate right here. Read this in Eusebius chapter 7.
Eusebius chapter 7. It is proper also to observe how it is asserted that this same Pilate, who was governor at our Savior's crucifixion in the reign of Cassius, whose times were recorded, fell into such calamities that he was forced to become his own murderer.
He said he was forced to become what?
His own murderer.
Who killed Pilate? Himself.
Wow.
So is Philo wrong? Is Philo analysis wrong when he says that the Most High uses evil tyrants like a fire to remove the evil, and then eventually they remove themselves? They burn themselves out? Read on.
Forced to become his own murderer and the avenger of his own wickedness. Divine justice, it seems, did not long protract his punishment. This is stated by those Greek historians who have recorded the Olympiads in order, together with the transactions of the times.
Read that right there.
Also, said he, was recalled by Tiberius and banished to Vienna.
It said he was banished to Vienna. Go ahead.
Where he committed suicide in 41 AD.
So, Philo says the Most High is using these guys to eliminate the wickedness off the earth, and after they've done their job, they burn themselves out. And they remove themselves. Read this right. Finish reading that.
Sort of like Judas.
Say it again.
Sort of like Judas.
Almost like Judas.
Right.
Read.
Wow.
He was there for a purpose.
Wow.
Read it again.
No, just finish that part. Yeah, so also.
Okay. So also do those who have received supreme power over nations, when they have exhausted the cities and rendered them destitute of inhabitants, at last perish themselves among them, suffering due punishment for all they have done.
He says, so this is how the Most High deals with tyrannical individuals. He uses them for a purpose. Once they've done their job, like fire, they burn themselves out.
That's spiritual as it gets, bro.
Is Philo wrong in his analysis?
Very accurate.
He's pretty accurate. Read this right here.
For what?
And why?
And why should we wonder if the Most High employs the agency of tyrants?
He says, why should we be amazed that the Most High would use tyrants?
He employs them.
He employs them.
Like a boss.
He gave him a job. He gave Pilate a job. He gave him a job to do. Be evil. Be evil to the children of Israel.
Take their money.
Take their money. Set up statues. Be wicked. Kill the innocent. Kill the just. put some human blood with animal blood and
Vex these
sacrifice it. Vex these people.
Just like he caused the elements to start coagulating and spinning and turning into little whirlwinds.
Absolutely.
Or he caused the beast. I'm calling all locusts. Go over here
All the
and
crops.
bother these people.
Yep.
People wake up and the highway, the street, the school, college. We couldn't even go to college. They canceled college that day because the whole college was filled with low. They were inside the classroom. They were buzzing and it's like you can't focus.
Yep.
And then they disappear.
And then they said it's time to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he calls the elements, he calls the creatures, and then he calls these kind of men.
He calls these tyrants. He says he calls tyrants to do a job. They're employed by the Most High. Read.
That's crazy.
And why should we wonder if the Most High employs the agency of tyrants to get rid of wickedness when widely diffused over cities? And countries and nations. For he very often uses other ministers.
He says, for very often he uses other ministers. Go ahead.
And himself brings about the same end by his own resources, inflicting upon the nation famine or pestilence.
He says the Most High got other ministers. So what Philo is saying is that tyrants are just ministers of the Lord.
Yeah.
Just like a fire is. Just like a hailstorm is. Or just like a flood is. Or what else?
Or earthquakes, or any other heaven-sent calamity, by which great and numerous multitudes perish every day.
So he said tyrants are heaven sent to do a job to eliminate wicked men.
This is for you.
This guy's for you. Read.
And by which a great portion of the habitable world is made desolate, on account of his care for the preservation of virtue.
Now, read that last part right here, 42.
The other part just
this part right here. God causes.
43.
Mm-hmm.
The Most High causes the violent storms of wind and rain, which we see, not for the injury of those who traverse the sea, as you fancied, or of those who till the earth, but for the general benefit of the whole of the human race. For with his water he cleanses the earth, and with his breezes he purifies all the regions beneath the moon. And by the united influence of both he nourishes and promotes the growth and brings to perfection both animals and plants.
So he says the Most High is just using wicked men as a tool to purge the earth. Is Philo wrong? He's not. But even as accurate of an assessment as he possesses, his assessment is not Christ-like. He's down there spot on about why the Most High bring wicked men on the earth.
Right.
He said it's a cleansing process. He's down there spot on. But it's not the perspective of Christ. He's close. Especially based upon how we understand the Most High uses spirits. But he's not explaining the way Christ looks at things. Now let's go back to Luke 13 and read verse 1 again.
Luke chapter 13 and verse 1. They were present at that season. Some that told him of the Galileans, whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices. And Yahushua answering said unto them, suppose ye that these Galileans were sinners above all Galileans?
He said, y'all probably thinking, think about what Christ is asking them. He says, y'all probably thinking that these were just the worst guys of all the Galileans.
Yeah.
Isn't that how we think?
Yeah.
Man, those had to be some wicked men to have their blood mingled with animal blood and cast upon the altar for a burnt sacrifice. They had to be wicked men. So what he's saying is, y'all think that these men are wicked. Because that's what we say when we watch people die. We say, man, those people deserve it. The Most High stinging. The Most High punishing. The Most High he's angry.
They asked for that.
They asked for that. They brought it on themselves. Read.
Verse 2. And Yahushua answered, said unto them, suppose ye that these Galileans were sinners above all the Galileans?
Stop. Give me the definition of suppose. The fourth definition of suppose. Because what Christ is explaining is how a regular man thinks. He said, y'all think because these men died in this particular manner, y'all think it's just that these men had to be some low down dirty men. And they brought that evil on themselves. That's what y'all think. To get that kind of death, to receive that kind of death, you think the worst of people that catch hell by way of tragedy.
Yeah.
Read.
Suppose 1828 Webster's Dictionary, point number 4. To require to exist or be true.
It says you think that this was true, that they're this bad of a person, to where they had to die in that fashion. Everybody that dies a tragic death isn't just the fact that there's just some extreme sinners. Because that's what man thinks. Man thinks that when they see somebody die a terrible calamity or by unnatural causes or by a storm of biblical proportion, that they must be wicked. They got to be wicked.
Yep.
Look at the way they died.
Most High got them.
The Most High was trying to tell them something and they wasn't listening. Look at them. That's not always the case. Philo was pretty damn strong in his argument about how the Most High used tyrants and what he used them for, but that ain't the way Christ looks at it, though. And that's not how he wants us to look at it. When we see calamity, and we see tragedy, and we see death, and we see destruction, and we see all these damn weird weather patterns going, killing people of all, it's people that they're still looking for right now. They can't even find them through these hurricanes. But does everybody deserve it? Is that how you're supposed to process when you see mass casualties?
Wow.
Everybody deserved that?
Wow.
They were all no good?
Wow.
It wasn't no good people in California in the fires. It wasn't no good people in Texas all the way to North Carolina in the tornadoes. Wasn't nobody good? We look at it. We look at things the way man looks at things. But he said, he that is spiritual judges all things spiritually. Especially, he's saying, because we got the mind of Christ. We got to look at things the way Christ looks at things. So Christ says, you think because a man may die in this fashion that that's a wicked man. Read that definition of suppose.
Suppose 1828 Webster's Dictionary, point number 4. To require to exist or be true. The existence of things supposes the existence of a cause of the things.
He says, you think because this man died a tragic death that he was a dirty man. This is what we add up and suppose. This is our supposition. But what did Christ say about these Galileans? Read verse 2 again.
God. Luke chapter 13 and verse 2. And Yahushua answering said unto them, suppose ye that these Galileans were sinners above all the Galileans, because they suffered such things? I tell you, nay.
He said, I tell you what?
Nay.
What does that mean?
No.
No, man. No, man. Everybody that dies a tragic death doesn't mean they're wicked, like we suppose. Or they had it coming to them. Or they brought it on themselves. He says no. Read on.
Verse 3. I tell you, nay, but except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish.
He says, what are you supposed to see and process when you see mass death and mass casualties?
Get your stuff together.
Bingo. People don't process what they see correctly. That's why the class is called Blessed Are the Eyes That See. You know when you see 90 tornadoes come through 12 states, 13 states in 3 days, it killed 43 people, what's supposed to be on your mind? It's not those, oh man, those people tripping. Oh, the Most High stinging. What's supposed to be in your mind, the way Christ would want you to look at it is, you better get yourself together. You on the chopping block. How about that?
You're next.
You could be next. Yes, sir.
Can that be equivalent to when Achan sinned and those thousands of men died in battle? The Most High allowed those thousands of men.
It wasn't thousands that died.
Okay.
But Achan sinned. But no man was lost. They didn't lose a man until that man sinned.
Right.
And then like 36 men died because of his one mistake. But that's not similar to that, because what Christ is saying is, you're looking at death the wrong way when you see the Most High bring havoc on the earth. You're quantifying what you see the wrong way. You're looking at people die and you say they deserve that. You say they shouldn't have been wicked then. You say, hey man, them people was out of pocket. Christ is saying, get yourself together. Prepare yourself.
If you have eyes.
If you can see what's going on, you should be looking at this correctly. But the problem is, when we hear bad stories, when we see mass casualties, and if it ain't us, we not caring. It ain't hitting my house.
Next TikTok video.
It ain't hit my house. It ain't hit my people. I don't know nobody that died over there. But you're not looking at it the right way. The way Christ wants us to look at it is, hey, you're gonna, if you don't repent, you're up next, buddy. If you don't make no changes and you want to be these thorns, hey, that next storm is coming to your address.
You know what makes sense, Shawan? The scripture says, rebuke before all, that all men may fear. We're seeing a rebuke, but we're supposed to be the ones to fear.
Yeah, we're supposed to be the ones saying, hey, man, I got to start making some changes. Let me start doing some calculations,
That's
man.
crazy.
Let me do an alms check. Have I been giving enough alms?
That's scary, bro.
Because alms deliver from death. Is my arms up? Have I been tithing? Have I been charitable? Have I been showing love? Have I been merciful? Have I been meek? Have I been forgiving people? You better start running off a checklist. We don't do that though. We don't see a massive loss of life and then start doing a self-analysis.
We don't.
And saying, damn man, I ain't no good. Man, I still got these problems. I'm still smoking this stuff.
I did the same thing they did.
You know, I can't quit this habit. I'm tripping. I'm still lying. I've been lying the whole time. I'm still lying.
I'm still lying.
Ain't nobody doing no self-analysis. Yes, sir.
Most High says also don't laugh at another man's calamities. Going through how certain laughing at somebody else because they get burnt alive.
They say mock not another man to scorn. Because the Most High could turn his wrath from them and put it on you.
But I think it is a scripture that says if you do that,
yeah,
something's going to come back to you.
Yeah,
for laughing.
He said he'll take his anger off that individual and put it on you. Yeah. The problem is we don't look at things right. We have an old age form of looking at tragedy. We never do self-correction immediately after seeing tragedy. We never do a self-checklist to make sure I'm in the right spirit. We never do that. 90 tornadoes come through from last Friday to yesterday, and you've done no self-analysis. You've done no inventory on your spirit.
That's crazy.
That's what you're supposed to do. That's what Christ is saying. When you see these things, look at yourself. Don't look at them. But this is the mind frame we got. Go to Acts chapter 18. I'm sorry, Acts chapter 28.
Acts 28?
Yeah, give me Acts 28. And give me verse 3 through 6.
Come. Acts chapter 28 and verse 3 reads. You ready?
Hold on, let me get it. 28. Acts 28, 3 through 6.
Ready.
Hold on, let me get it. I want to make sure start at a particular point. Oh, somebody a question, brother? You got a question?
What was that last verse?
That was the last verse we had was Luke chapter 13 verse 3, I believe. We're in Acts chapter 28, read verse 1 through 6.
Come. Acts chapter 28 and verse 1 reads, and when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita. And the barbarous people shewed us no little kindness, for they kindled a fire and received us, every one, because of the present rain and because of the cold. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire,
it said these barbarous people showed us no little kindness, so they showed us some gratitude, for they kindled a fire and received us every one. They took us in because of the present rain and because of the cold. We was cold, we was raining, so they had compassion upon us. They saw the condition we was in, and they kindled a fire for us. They warmed us up, and they took care of us while we had just came off this shipwreck. Read on.
Come, verse 3. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand.
So while Paul was kindling these sticks, trying to get that fire cooking, a viper came out and bit Paul's hand while he was reaching for them sticks.
Crazy.
Read on.
Verse 4. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer.
They said, man, no doubt. There's a reason why that snake bit him.
Yeah.
Because he's a guilty ass man.
Yeah, he done killed somebody. Man. He did some dirty.
He's got to be a murderer. Why that serpent jump out them sticks and latch on to his hand? And during those times, hey, that's a bite of death.
Yeah.
That's certain death.
You can't escape the wrath of God. The snake got him.
Yeah, that's a done deal. He said he had to be a murderer for that to happen to him. Read on.
God, no doubt, this man is a murderer.
That's how we look at people when bad things happen to people. We don't look at people the way Christ look at people. We look at people like the barbarians look at people. When bad things happen to people, we say, man, no doubt they was wicked.
Yeah.
And I'm righteous. I'm in the truth. I follow the law, statutes, and commandments. No, we don't. You know, we still got a wrong perspective.
Right.
When we see tragedy, we still look at people the way the barbarians look at people. Man, that's a murder. That person's guilty. That's why that happened to them. This is the reason why this happened to them. Because they're guilty. Yes, sir.
You look at things like that Pharisee, it's that synagogue.
Yeah. We have this predisposed guilt that how we look at people, especially when they receive tragedy. In the midst of tragedy and hardship. Yes, sir.
You know what's crazy with that? It's we have that, like you said, the barbarian mind frame. We automatically assume, oh, you're wicked, or this person's wicked, or whatever. But the crazy thing is this: if the shoe was on the other foot, and something was to happen to us, we would want some type of a mercy or a cleaner mind frame. You know what I mean? And that's what's crazy about it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it is. But of course, we want somebody to look at our situation and say, "Hey,
Going through a trial right
that maybe the Most High is teaching them something."
Right.
We don't look at things like that. We say, "Man, got him. The Most High got him.
Yeah.
The Most High stung him."
Ladies and gentlemen.
You know what I'm saying? The Most High got another body, caught another body.
Yeah. Time for
So-
a lesson.
So we look at the worst in people and say they deserve that because it matches our opinion of those people. That's why our thoughts are antiquated. It's old, man. It's barbarous.
Right.
He said that man's got to be guilty. Because look at how that snake got him. Read.
Come. No doubt, this man is a murderer, whom, though he have escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live.
He
So
said
he can
that
escape the sea.
he the shipwreck didn't kill him, but the snake got him.
Wow, that's
those
the
are-
irony. Of it.
Those are too many bad events stacked on top of each other. That says something. It says something. What it says is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 18.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 18.
What'd you do, huh?
Yeah, he went from shipwreck to snake bite.
Huh?
You went from losing keys to losing wallets to all these other things.
Cars getting wrecked.
Yeah, wrecking cars. And
Tickets.
what is the Most High trying to tell you, brother?
Yeah.
Sinning.
Read.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 18. Page 66. It says, also,
the singular diligence.
It says the singular diligence. All it takes is one person to look at something wrong to start putting people on a path of unjust thinking. That's why I say one sinner destroy what?
Much good.
It just takes one person not looking at a scenario or people the right way, and a fire can start. That's why the Most High said, "Cursed be the whisperer," because it just takes one bad statement or one wrong perspective or judgment on analyzing something, and you could send off people on a whirlwind of guilt. Read.
It says also the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition.
It says what people possess is what?
Superstition.
People
Superstition.
People look at people based off superstitious judgments. It must have, man, it's too many consecutive bad events happening to this person. The Most High's got to be stinging you. It's got to be. You got to be in his eye, bullseye, man. You got a target on your back. You can't catch a break. What is the Most High trying to tell you? You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
And you know, as it seems that it's a public post of getting your stuff together. You know, I use that example with me and Daviar when we were going to Phoenix. We were seeing all these cars broke down, people stopped, hoods up, and you know, little did we know we're about to be the same way in just a second. You know, and it happened 3 times. I was like, holy. So, I mean, what we talk about, I mean, it's dead on. And I mean, I use that example, but
We were having a great time. We were having a ball. We were laughing, having a ball.
Like, look at these people, man. They need to get their stuff together.
And no gas.
Should've got some gas.
It's the desert. It's the desert.
And lo and behold, you know.
Read this right here. This is about how superstitious people were during the time of the Greeks. Read this right here.
God, it says, if he catches sight of a madman.
It says, and during the time of the Greeks, if you locked eyes with a man that was retarded, or you caught somebody that was either retarded or
turned up,
or handicapped, if you locked eyes with a handicapped person, or if what?
Or an epileptic.
Or if you saw somebody having an epileptic seizure, if they were convulsing in a seizure. Read.
He shudders his shoulder. He shudders.
He said, ooh. People would say, ooh. They would shudder his shoulders and do what?
And spits it into his bosom.
And he'll spit in his own bosom. If I see a person that's how superstitious people was. If I saw somebody having an epileptic seizure, because I didn't want no bad juju on me, I spit in my own chest.
Yeah.
Read.
On here?
Yeah.
That one got forgotten.
It says the simpler.
It says the more stupid people are, the more ignorant people are. Read.
The simpler Greeks believed, or taught their children to believe.
It says the simpler or the more ignorant they are, the more ignorant they taught their children to believe. Read.
In a great variety of bogies.
Bogies.
Oh, bogies.
He says in a great variety of bogies. So during the Greek time, they had a bunch of bogey stories going around that was all based upon superstition.
Yeah.
A bunch of bogies. Read.
Whole cities were disturbed at short intervals by portents.
Portents are omens of ill.
Omens of ill.
Bad luck. Go ahead.
Or strange occurrences.
Go ahead.
Like deformed births of animals.
If they saw a deformed birth of animal, that's a bad sign. What else?
Or men.
A deformed man? Oh man, that's a bad sign. Go ahead.
The belief in unlucky days.
I got bad days. Man, I'm having a bad day. It's just today's a bad. Mondays are bad days.
Yeah.
13th.
It's the Friday the 13th. I got unlucky days. It said men live with what? Superstitions. That's how they judge the world, through the eyes of a superstitious soul. Read.
The belief in unlucky days was so widespread that on such days no marriage might take place.
This is why people still don't get married on Friday.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, people still have a little bit of a not superstition. They're still like they'll change their marriage date to Saturday. They still got some what's the word apprehension. They still got apprehension. They still like that's why today even to this day people don't like to get married on Fridays. They say it's historically been a bad day to get married. Historically. But people still live by these things. Even though, go ahead.
No assembly might be held. No courts might meet. No enterprise might begin.
Nobody doing no work because if somebody saw a retarded person or a handicapped person. I ain't going to work today.
That's the hell of an excuse.
The city is shutting down.
Everything's shut down because somebody had a seizure. But you know what he's showing?
Sign.
People been operating in life with superstition. And that's what carries and forms their judgment. It's superstition. It's not real religion. It's not real truth. It's not real judgment. It's not even Christ-like. People live off superstition. Let that go, and let's go back to Acts.
Come. You want verse 3 from the top?
Yeah. Give me verse verse 5.
Okay, verse 5. Come.
Verse 4 again.
Come. Acts chapter 28, verse 4 reads, And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said among themselves, No doubt, this man is a murderer, whom though he have escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live.
It says, vengeance, the Most High, they can't even say the Most High, these are barbarians. They say vengeance don't want this man to live. They just blame it on spirits. They say this man, somebody's out to get him because this man's got to be guilty.
The gods of wrath are upon him.
Yeah, in the Greek voice. Read.
Verse 5. And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm.
And he felt no harm. Read.
Howbeit they look when he should have swollen.
It said, man, by that time, this man, within minutes, this man's body should have swollen up.
It should have been gone.
He should have been swelling up and dead. They know what happens when a man gets bitten by a poisonous snake. He said this man should be swelling up by now. Read on.
Come. Or falling down dead suddenly.
He should have been dead already. Read on.
But after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him,
read.
They changed their minds and said,
what?
That he was a god.
How did he go from a murderer to a god?
Come on.
In a matter of minutes.
That's crazy.
That judgment. Crazy judgment again.
That's because we have crooked judgment. It just shows you how wide of an array of ignorant judgment we possess. How does a man go from a murderer and you know he's got to be guilty to, oh man, that guy got the Spirit of the Lord on him. And it's within minutes. Within minutes.
Yeah.
Within minutes, bro. Because you know why? People got superstitious perspectives. We don't look at things right. Nobody goes from a murderer to a god within minutes. But if you're looking at it crooked, you do. If you have a superstitious mind frame, you do. If you don't look at life through the Spirit and the eyes of Christ, you do. You have the wrong perspective about people. Most of us, I'm going to say all of us, got the wrong perspective of people. We have to be taught to think like Christ. Go back and finish Luke chapter 13. Read verse 4.
Luke chapter 13, verse 4. It says, For those 18 upon whom the tower...
Now, hold on. Now, we just read that Christ said, I tell you nay, but except ye repent, you shall be like these, like you shall be all likewise perish. You're going to die like those men died in Galilee. Verse 4.
Verse 4. Or those 18...
Oh, Christ said, you know what? He'll add another tragedy. He said, I'll give you another tragedy. What about the 18? Read on.
Upon whom the tower in Siloam fell.
He said, Christ said, what about the tower that collapsed? That was in Siloam. He said 18 people lost their life in that tower that fell in Siloam. Christ said, what y'all think about that one? Read.
And slew them.
And they all died. Read on.
Think ye that they were sinners above all men that dwelt in Jerusalem?
You think also that they had it coming to them because the way that they died was tragic, was a tragedy. Just like the condos that collapsed in Miami.
Yeah.
Was all them people inside that lost their lives in those condos that failed all the building codes and permits, didn't have building codes and permits, that they collapsed when those people was on vacation? Was all them people just super big sinners? Read on.
Verse 5. I tell you, nay.
He said no. You got to look at things the right way. Read.
But except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish.
Once again, when you see a tragedy, what's your first thing to come to your mind? Check yourself, do inventory on yourself, and figure out what changes you got to make immediately. Is that what we do, though? No. But that's what must be done. And I'll save the rest of the part 2 for next week because it's going to change. Because we still got to talk about the guy that lived that survived, that got stranded out in sea and ate roaches and birds. We still got to go into his story. But because that was a story of fight and overcoming obstacles.
That's a movie, yeah.
Yeah. But we'll end it with that.
Come on.
Any questions? With that, we're going to say shalom. We'll see you again on Friday. And we'll finish the second part of this next week on Wednesday. All right, shalom, Israel. Good to see everybody in class. The water for watching.
Essential.